And our guest is former Canterbury cricket coach and player Garry MacDonald from the beautiful city of Nelson at the top of New Zealand's South Island. If you haven't been over there, I'd advise you to get over there. It's a beautiful part of the world. Well, welcome, Garry. Ashes cricket series in England has certainly heated up, with Australia taking a 2-0 lead in the 5-match series amid allegations of cheating and bad sportsmanship, and the whole thing's left a bit of a sour taste, certainly with me and a lot of other people.
Yeah, well, yeah, how you going, John? It's the good thing about I suppose in New Zealand, I mean, it's sort of Rugby World Cup year, and rugby's been on everyone's lips over here in this part of the world. But I'll tell you what, there's massive interest in these in this Ashes, and it's been very, very topical, of course, for a number of reasons in the last couple of days. There's been a lot of drama and a lot of theatre going on over there, but you're probably talking about the allegations and that have been coming out of that game rather than the game itself, which is a bit of a shame because there were some very, very good performances there, wasn't there? But I'm just I'm firmly on the side of I'm very disappointed with the English, and I'm disappointed with the crowd, and I'm bloody disappointed with those members in that Lord's group too. I just think that the way they've behaved about these things is, it hasn't done them any favours. And I just wish we could get on and sort of play cricket rather than just concentrating on this. But it's just the way it's panned out, I suppose.
Well, you've been to Lord's many times, Garry. You know the atmosphere there. It's regarded as the home of cricket, and for Alex Carey to be lambasted by everybody for running out Jonny Bairstow, I think is ridiculous. To me, it's totally within the rules, and Jonny Bairstow is the one they should be getting at. He might have cost them the game.
It was total inattention, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, John, you were a top-order batsman, so you probably spent most of your time facing faster bowlers and a new ball where the keeper's standing back. Can I ask you this, if you don't mind, on your own forum? How many times were you ever run out like that?
Never. Always stayed in my crease and looked at the wicket keeper. When the ball left his gloves, then I would walk down the other end.
Yeah, exactly. And as soon as the keeper threw the ball to a slips and the ball, you've still got plenty of time to go down and have a bit of a garden or talk to your mate about the important things in those mid-wicket conferences, like where you're going to have a meal that night, or if you see the pretty girl in row 4 at the Southern Stand, or whatever you talk about.
Exactly.
And you've still got time to get back as well. So there's absolutely no excuse for it. And it's no different to me with the keeper standing up or standing back. If you're going to go wandering out of your crease, you're going to get done. And there's no, it's just not even a question to me. And I think the Australians have been, I think they've been discredited by what they've had to cop about this. And can I just say too, I have been at Lord's many, many times. And I love Lord's. It is the home of cricket, and there's something about it. But there's no doubt about it. It's a privileged, aristocratic place for wealthy aristocrats. So, and usually they behave themselves, but this time they showed their true colours. It's very disappointing from that point of view, because anyone that's been to Lord's usually falls in love with the place. But this has just left a very, very bad taste.
Yeah, right? Yeah, it has. You're dead right, Garry. And of course, for Brendan McCullum to come out and say that they're not going to have a beer with the Aussies after the series. I mean, he's got a pretty short memory. He was involved in a couple of dodgy run-outs against Sri Lanka and Zimbabwe when he ran players out when they were running down the other end to celebrate a teammate's century. What's the difference?
Yeah, of course. That's all been pretty well documented. It's been sort of all over the news and that here, and Bairstow, Jonny Bairstow hasn't been adverse himself from when he's keeping trying to do the same thing to people as well. So there's just no excuse for it, and and you can talk about the spirit of the game and things like all that, but I mean, this is just inattention from a guy who went wandering around, the same as we had. We had Grom home, didn't we? Got run out on the test here, where there's a big shout for LBW. He wasn't sure if he was out or not. Sort of wandered halfway down the pitch and got run out, and that was just inattention from him. I mean, I've been a coach for 40 or 50 years, and one of the first things you tell your young players is not to go wandering out of the crease until you know the ball's dead, guys. Please, it's hard enough as it is when you're facing 11 players trying to stay in without just wandering around like that. There's no excuse for it, and it's just ridiculous for anyone to think that there is an excuse for it.
Well,
or that,
yeah. Well, England, of course, are 2-0 down in the series, but they could, if they'd played a little bit more conservatively and a little bit more intelligently, they'd be 2-0 up.
Yeah, well, I think those games were both of them were a hell of a lot closer than, You see, the problem is when Australia get 2-0 up, it's only ever happened once in history where any team, whether it's England or Australia in the Ashes, have ever come back from 2-0 down to win. So that's what the Poms are up against now. And Australia did it, but they had a guy called Don Bradman in their team who was pretty bloody good. So the history is right against them now. And Australia are, the Australian cricket team are very, very good at getting, if they get their nose in front early in an Ashes series, my God, they're hard to pin back now. I think, to me, the Poms are in real trouble, mate. I really think they are. But, who knows? Well, I see Brendan McCullum said that this, poor sportsmanship, in commas, is going to steal them up and make them go even harder. Well, we'll just have to wait and see, because in some aspects, especially their batting, I don't know how much harder they can go without being totally reckless. This Bazball thing is, look, it's great to watch and it's very exciting, but to be quite honest, I'm a little bit worried about Test cricket with all of this, which I can elaborate now if you like. But the main concern that I have about Test cricket now with this is not so much the Bazball batting and that sort of thing. It is the bowling for me that I'm very worried about. I mean, I don't know how long crowds and television audiences are going to sit and watch games of Ashes Test cricket, or any Test cricket for that matter, where the tactic is every fieldsman goes onto the boundary when they come under pressure, and 90% of the deliveries are going to land not at halfway, and just bowl short pitch bowling over after over after over. That is what I'm really concerned about, because people are going to get sick of that after a while. I was getting sick of it myself watching it on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, just watching short pitch bowling over after over after over. And I'll only say it quietly, but I think New Zealand started that with Wagner. But that's the thing that's worrying me. Not so much the batting. And you and I are old school. You were a top order batsman all your life, so you're probably looking at it, shaking your head probably more than I do about some of the shots they play.
I was thinking, I wish I was that good.
But I mean, so that to me is a real concern, and it won't take long before some questions are asked about it. Maybe the lawmakers have got to get involved with this, because John, I watched that last test, and I watched how the tactics went, and I thought, where the hell is the mastery here of? Let's talk about our bowlers in our country over the years. Where is the mastery of Richard Hadley, who never used intimidation? He never had to, because he was too good. He just got people out with beautiful outswingers. You watched them. Where is the uniqueness of a Lance Cairns bowling big in duckers off the wrong foot? Even Bolte and what's his name, Tim Southey, with their swing and their seam and all that. And then you look at the other side, you look at the batsmen, the Martin Crows, the Wellingtons, the Ross Taylors, our great players, how they combated all that, and did their best. And now what are we watching? We're watching a whole lot of short pitch bowling as a tactic for hour after hour after hour. And that is really concerning me, mate, to be honest. And as a batsman, once the ball gets above around about chest height, you can't play a straight bat shot.
No.
I mean, what can you do? You can either try and leave it, which is, or you can try and ramp it, or you've got to hook or pull the bloody thing. Well, there's only a certain amount of time you can do that before you're going to hit one up in the air.
Exactly.
So I'm really concerned about the tactical side of where Test cricket is heading, if this is what we're going to see now.
Yeah, it's a really good point you make, Gary. Really good point. And of course, unleashing the bounces, not just a 1 to 7 at the tail end as well, which is, quite frankly, they've got a short memory. It's killed a person, killed a great player before, and
that's a very, very good point. The reason why people bat at 9, 10 and 11, there's a couple of reasons. One is because they're bowlers of the team, that's their job. And usually a secondary reason is that they're not very good at batting. And you talk about the spirit of the game. I really dislike seeing, it might be old school, I dislike seeing pale order batsmen getting people by bumpers. I think it is dangerous, and it's there's no need for that, and that's not in the spirit of the game. If you want to talk about that,
no,
both teams over there want to keep harping on about that. Stop bloody bowling bumpers at Jimmy Anderson and things like that. It's just not right to me. Well, as they used to say in the old days, that's not cricket.
No, you're certainly right. There, amongst all the controversy, Gary, of course, there was a couple of magnificent innings, one by Steve Smith, who plays his 100th test at Headingley, and that amazing, one of the great Ashes innings, I reckon, by Ben Stokes at 155 in the second innings. He looked like a man possessed there.
Yeah, well, it was. And both of those guys, played magnificent innings. Slightly different in character, but yeah, I mean, Ben Stokes, that was marvellous hitting, wasn't it? I got up in the middle of the night to watch that. I just heard it on the radio. They said Ben Stokes is on 90, and it just been like, so I've just got to get up. I've only just got to bed a while ago, but no, amazing stuff. And he is one who's powerful enough to actually keep cross batting sixes, but even he run out of luck at the end. Just couldn't keep doing it, could they? But I don't know. It was great to watch. It's great theatre, John, and it's it makes good viewing too. Gee, give me a Martin Crowe cover drive through the covers. That'll get me off my seat as quick as that.
Yeah, exactly.
Fair play to them. I mean, they've got some. There's some really good players in this Ashes series on both sides. It's they're very good, aren't they?
Yeah, they certainly are. You think now, Headingley, the conditions over there. What's likely to happen at Headingley and Leeds?
Yeah, well, I think what's happening, and it may have been a conscious effort. I'm not too sure, but I think all the last couple of wickets we've had, mate, they've been pretty slow, docile wickets, and I don't think Headingley will be any different. I think that'll be slow as well. The personnel changes in the teams might have a little bit of tactical influence. I think Australia will probably play that boy Murphy, won't they?
Todd Murphy, yeah, he's a very good prospect.
Well, he's only about 21 or 22, isn't he?
Yeah, very young boy.
And if you wanted to be an international spinner, you go to Australia because they just get a damn good go, don't they? They're not afraid to bring a guy like that in.
No.
I'm just over the moon about that. And we've spoken many times about about how we treat us.
And he's coached by a great Kiwi, Daniel Vittori, of course, who's the Aussie bowling coach.
Right, you know? Yeah, and so I think, I hear Pope could be injured for England. No, Mo and Ali hopefully will come in, so let's hope we've got a couple of frontline spinners, you know.
Yeah.
There is some talk of Jimmy Anderson, who's sort of, maybe might miss out, especially if Wood is fit, because they may go for that extra pace, especially if they're going to use this bouncer tactic stuff. So, no, I think we'll probably see a little bit more of the same. I just don't think that England will want the groundsmen to serve up too much more pace, even though they're 2-0 down. I think the Australians can have just as much influence with, if the wicket was more quicker than what the Poms would. So
yeah,
I think it's going to be more of the same, John.
Who are you picking to win, Gary? Can the Poms come back from this and win a test, win this one?
I think they can win a test. No, I think the Ashes are gone now. And I'm probably saying that more because history is way on my side. But I think England could win a test, but I think the test that they win is probably going to be when the Ashes are gone after this one, and there's nothing much. The Australians haven't got to have a lot more to lose. They've already won the thing. So I'm expecting England to win test 4 or 5. I also think they're going to be so excited and getting so hyped up about all this other nonsense that I don't think they're going to be concentrating on the job, where Australia will just go about their business in their own ruthless way. And the way they've possibly been treated, I don't think that this isn't going to steal them up as well. I mean, the last thing you want to do against an Australian cricket team is to annoy them as well and start abusing them in ways. I mean, I have no real love for the Australian cricket team as far as this sort of stuff goes. Over the years, they've proven to be a very hard team to like. But in this particular case, I don't think England have got any leg to stand on here. In fact, they could be making things harder for themselves.
Yeah, totally agree. Gary, always great to talk cricket with you, mate, and appreciate you being a guest on our show. And let's sit back and go for the ride for the next 3 tests. Yeah,
let's try and get some sleep, mate. Lucky I'm retired. What about you? You got to do some.
Yeah, no.
Back
to night shift tonight.
Okay, good luck. Thanks, John.
Cheers, Gary.